Good evening, YouTube. What's up? I'm so exhausted. And I know this video is not going to go through because I'm looking at the picture and my lips are like off, like it's not even me. So when stuff like that happens, I know some shit's going to be fucked up. But I'm exhausted. And, that rant about unprofessionalism really wore me out because, it's frustrating. It's just I don't even have the words to say. It's not right that if you put forth effort and you're honest and you're conscientious, that employees are not. You know, if an employer has a job description up and I know I don't fit it, I don't respond to it. Or if a job description is up and I know that I'm really not interested, I don't respond to it. It's a waste of time. And it just really just like I said took me for a loop and just wore me out. On the other hand, to kind of unwind and release the tension and the stress, I go to, the little chit chat sites that I go to, like Mote and POF and things like that, just try to release stress. And when I find other people that are going through things, it helps you put your issues or situations into perspective. And there was a young man, I posted a status about, you know, 'cause I saw some different things. Like I saw a couple days ago, I saw a man that was older, and his main picture was one of him when he was younger, like 30 something, and he's like 50 something now, and he still looks good for his age. And when I asked him his age in the picture, he said 30 something, and it's so funny because I'm near 40 now, and how his 30 something was 20 years ago, and how the 20 years went so fast, you know. And so I can look to forward to 20 years from now, me looking the way that he looks. He still looks good, but he's obviously old, not the same person. Then he had pictures from, probably 20 years before that when he had his first baby. And, time just rolls on. It goes on, you know. And, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel sad and lonely, to see that, time just progresses on and, like, throughout that time, like I said, for a lot of most of my life, I've been alone, and I've enjoyed being alone. But the funny thing about it is, even those times that I was alone, now that I look back on it, now that I'm older, and I don't necessarily feel lonely right this moment, but I do have bouts of loneliness, as you know. But it's like, I think about, wow, how much more fulfilling or enriching that time would have been if I had like a hand to hold, And but the reality of it is the world is not the same. That hand, and even back then the world was not so great. I remember this couple that I knew that, they were dating since they were 13, and then when Facebook came out, this person is hitting me up, you know what I'm saying, trying to get some or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, are you serious?" So you can have a hand to hold all those years, but it don't mean nothing but the fact that you're a slave to that person. So I guess in my life, I'm looking for real love. Like, even if it's just self-love, and I had that, but the system stole that away from me. And it's like I have an opportunity to rebuild it now, but it's going to be completely different than it was before, because there's new technologies coming into play, and the lifestyle that I had before, I'm not going to be the same. you know. So I still have that opportunity for self-love, but either it's going to be on a 10,000 times stronger level once I build all my resources back up, or it's just going to be weird. So I don't know. Looking at that man and watching how he aged over the years, it did something to me. And then somebody else had a picture of from Facebook of their dying like mother, and it looked like my mom, and I was like, oh my gosh, really? And my mom is working now. And so when I look at all this stuff, I wonder, like, is it really worth it? You know? And then, I was feeling kind of upset because I'm like, I'm living in this tiny ass place, rat infested, basically a shed, and I don't know, it just makes me feel lonely. Wish, like, even the worst situations, like, even being in the spot that I'm in, if I had a hand to hold, instead of it being so sad and so like yuck, it would be like, it would be that much better. It would be like better than the best, because it's very quaint and all you have is kind of each other. But the other way that I look at it is like, if I was really in love with myself like that, this would be like the most exciting part of my life right now, because all I have is me. But like I said, I feel like the system took me away from me. Like, I don't have, I have some of me, but I don't have, all of the fun parts that used to be there. So that's how I feel. And then there was this one person on Moco that said that he was, and I was a sucker for this when I was younger too. Like, if a guy cries or says that something's wrong or he's lonely or whatever, it seems like he's legitimate or there's some problems. I'm a sucker for that. I'm always like, oh, let me find out what's going on and blah blah blah. But this dude, he was using that so that I would call him. You know, so I was just like, there's no realness in this world no more. Where are the people that sincerely, need things or want things or desire things or have real goals, who are honest? Where are those people? And it's like the world has got to know by now that, what they value their success on, like, employment over years and, how much money you have. Those things they value success on don't mean nothing, and then stupid the low end black people are talking about big butts and stuff like that. That's so stupid. That's retarded. People are going out and getting butt implants and killing themselves over stupid crap, Why don't people love themselves for who they are anymore, And that's a stupid question, because I just said about how the system took me away from me, because probably they've gone through the system and it's took them away from them. So the only approval they can see is violence, is that they get from other people. Boy, I just told a lot of truth right there. So it's like, I gotta build this love up within myself again. I mean, I love myself on one level. It's almost like a tangent. I love myself on one level a lot, but it's like I gotta build that sense of coziness where, you know, I'm okay with cuddling up with myself and just being at peace. You know, I don't want to be continuously looking for something all my life. You know, the, you know, and looking for something I don't even really, I don't have any real respect for. That's the thing that gets me. So I don't want to look anymore. I want to be the source. I want to be the source of something good. And how am I gonna make that happen? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I mean, it's up to God. And then talking to what I was getting into was the thing about how I was so upset with these employers because of unprofessionalism. You know, the Bible and just wisdom always says, look at yourself before you point the finger at someone else. Because when I went to check to call that person, I couldn't help see my messages, and there was a message from an employer that I took my time to put a resume together for. And I was so upset after that man, I just had to get out of that account because I didn't even want to, just be accessible by phone just like that anymore. And I checked my messages, and one of the companies had called me, and he sounded like this is the owner of the company. He sounded disheveled and upset too, because he was just like, you know, and he took the time to be professional, leave a voicemail message, but you could tell by his voice that, he was tired of the BS. He was just like, hey Maria, this is such and such company. I'm figuring I got your Google Voice number, and I'm sure he's tired of that crap too, because I don't have like a message that says, hi, this is Maria Willoughby. Thank you so much for calling. If you are a professional employer, please leave a message and I'll get back to you immediately. If not, um, if not, please do not leave a message. If you are not a professional employer, please do not leave a message. If your company is not a professional business that handles things professionally, do not leave a message. You know? So he's getting this Google voice with whatever the automated message is, you know? So he's got to be sick of that too. So I need to step up my game. I can't really point fingers at nobody else. Well, yeah, I can, but so I just wanted to share with you how I was feeling like right now, and that's that. Peace out.